Dr. Alex Carter had always been fascinated by the unknown. From a young age, he would spend hours studying alien biology, imagining the lives of creatures beyond Earth. Now, years later, he found himself on the remote planet of Urindor, a place famous for its lush forests, towering crystal formations, and the native species known as the Larathi. Alex's mission was clear: to study and understand their unique physiology. But nothing in his life had prepared him for the challenge, and the joy he would soon encounter. The Larathi were graceful beings with elongated limbs, soft translucent skin that shimmered under the sunlight, and eyes that could perceive the smallest fluctuations in light. They communicated with a combination of melodic tones and subtle gestures. Their society was peaceful, centered around nature and community. Yet among them there was one young girl who was different, blind from birth. Her name was Sierra. She was small for her age but carried herself with remarkable confidence. Her movements were careful but deliberate, as if she had memorized every inch of her surroundings through touch and sound. Though blind, her mind was sharp, curious, and filled with wonder. She could identify the songs of birds, the shifting patterns of wind through leaves, and the faint hum of insects that humans often overlooked. Alex had first met her during a routine study of the Larathi village. He had been collecting environmental data when he noticed her quietly following him, her hands brushing over the moss-covered rocks with care. "Hello, little one," Alex had said, smiling softly. Sierra turned her head, listening intently. Though she could not see him, she had an uncanny ability to sense presence. "I'm Alex. I study your people, your world." Sierra tilted her head, emitting a soft melodic sound, a greeting in her language. Alex knelt to meet her at eye level, trying to imagine the world she experienced. He could see the vibrant colors, the golden sunlight, and the deep green of the forest. But for Sierra, he realized, the world was silent in ways most humans could never comprehend. Over the next few weeks, Alex spent hours with Sierra, observing how she interacted with her surroundings. He was inspired by her resilience and determination. She navigated the village, climbed small hills, and explored the forest with remarkable skill. But he knew that the gift of sight would open new possibilities for her mind and her life. It was during one late evening in his lab that Alex had an idea. His workspace was a mixture of human technology and carefully modified alien materials. He had been experimenting with neural interfaces for other purposes, but now he imagined a device that could translate visual information into signals that Sierra's brain could understand. I think I can help her see," Alex whispered to himself, running a hand through his hair. He sketched the first diagrams of what he called the prototype visor. The visor would be light and delicate, able to fit on Sierra's head without causing discomfort. Tiny sensors would capture visual input and convert it into a form that her brain could process. The challenge was immense. The Larathi nervous system was delicate, and one wrong adjustment could harm her, but Alex's determination was unwavering. For days, he worked tirelessly. The visor began to take shape, a sleek frame embedded with microcircuitry, lenses that glowed faintly, and a small neural interface that would connect gently to Sierra's sensory nodes. Each night he tested the components on simulations, refining the code and adjusting the sensors. Finally, the day arrived when he was ready to present the prototype to Sierra. He called her to his lab, explaining in simple terms how the visor worked. Though she could not see his gestures, she listened carefully, tilting her head and making soft sounds of curiosity. Alex gently placed the device on her head, securing it without causing discomfort. "Ready?" he asked. Sierra responded with a quiet tone that seemed to mean yes. Alex activated the visor. The effect was immediate and breathtaking. Sierra gasped, a sound of pure wonder. She could see the faint outlines of the lab, the glowing panels, the reflections on the glass containers. Her eyes widened, though her face remained serene, absorbing the colors and shapes like a mind opening to a new world. "The trees," she whispered, her voice trembling with emotion. "The sky, it's real." Alex felt a lump in his throat. He had imagined this moment countless times, but nothing compared to the reality of it. For Sierra, the forest outside the lab became a canvas of motion and light. She reached out her hands to trace the contours of objects, delighting in textures she had only felt before. Days passed, and Sierra's experience with the visor expanded. She explored the village, recognizing friends and family for the first time through sight. She learned to interpret expressions, colors, and patterns, connecting with the world in ways previously unimaginable. Alex observed her growth with pride. Each new skill she mastered was a testament to human ingenuity and the power of compassion. But as the joy of this achievement settled in, Alex remained unaware that word of the visor had spread beyond the village. On Erendor, technology that altered natural abilities was a sensitive topic. The Larathi government had strict protocols for enhancements, especially those involving neural interfaces. Some factions believed that altering perception could be dangerous, even if intended for good. Alex continued his work, refining the visor and teaching Sierra to navigate new challenges. They developed a routine: morning walks in the forest, afternoons in the lab, evenings reviewing data and observations. Sierra's excitement was infectious. She would describe every leaf, every bird, every color in vivid detail, teaching Alex to see his surroundings through her fresh perspective. "I never knew the sky could be so many shades," she said one afternoon, gazing at a sunset. "It's like the clouds are singing." Alex smiled, feeling both pride and humility. "You've always had the ability to understand it in your own way," he said. "I just helped you experience it differently." Yet, shadows of tension loomed beyond the peaceful village. Small observation drones had appeared near the lab, blending with the environment. Alex noticed them briefly but dismissed them as natural wildlife sensors. He did not yet understand the attention his work was drawing. One evening, Sierra spoke in a soft, melodic tone, her first words about worry. "I feel eyes. Watching." Alex froze. He looked around, scanning the trees and the fading light. He realized that her enhanced perception might be detecting signals or devices he had overlooked. The thought sent a shiver down his spine. The success of the visor had drawn attention, not all of it welcome. Despite the unease, Alex focused on what he could control. He continued improving the visor, testing new features that allowed Sierra to adjust brightness, detect motion, and even interpret depth more precisely. With each improvement, Sierra became more independent, confident, and curious. Her first solo walk in the village was a triumph. She greeted neighbors by sight and touch, explored the marketplace, and returned with stories of colors and patterns that amazed everyone. Alex followed at a distance, heart swelling with pride. He realized that humans with determination and empathy could make profound differences, even on alien worlds. But as night fell over Erendor, a faint hum echoed through the air. It was subtle at first, almost imperceptible, but Alex's instincts told him something was wrong. He glanced at the perimeter sensors he had installed around the lab. They were blinking, an indication of unidentified activity. Sierra, sensing his tension, tilted her head and listened intently. "Someone is coming," she said quietly. Alex's mind raced. Who could be coming? The Larathi government, scientists, or something else. He realized that their quiet life on Erendor was about to change. The visor, a symbol of hope and human ingenuity, had attracted attention. How the world would respond, and whether he could protect Sierra and the device, remained unknown. For the first time, Alex felt the weight of responsibility in a way he had never experienced. He had not only given Sierra the gift of sight but also made her a target. He vowed to protect her and his work, using every ounce of human ingenuity, courage, and creativity. The forest whispered around them, shadows growing long, as Alex and Sierra prepared for what was coming next. And though he could not see the future, he knew one thing for certain. Humans were capable of extraordinary things, and he would prove it in the days ahead. The forest of Urindor was quiet that morning, the sunlight filtering through the leaves in warm, golden beams. Sierra ran her fingers over the tree bark, learning the shapes and textures as she had done countless times before. But today, she noticed something different. A faint hum in the air, subtle vibrations, almost like the planet itself was whispering a warning. She looked at Alex, her new companion and teacher, her voice soft but urgent. "Alex, I feel it again. Someone is near." Alex froze mid-step. He had felt the tension too, but he had hoped it was just nerves. Now, with Sierra's instincts confirming it, he knew they were not alone. He scanned the trees, listening to the wind, analyzing the patterns of bird songs and watching for any irregular movement. The forest had always been a friend to them, a natural protector. Today, however, it might not be enough. Alex's mind raced. The visor was a prototype, experimental and unknown to most. He had shared it only with Sierra, yet somehow news of its success had reached others. He knew rumors could travel fast, even on a remote planet like Urindor. Whoever was coming was likely not here to talk. From the shadows of the distant tree line, 4 figures emerged. They moved with perfect precision, their suits dark and reflective, blending seamlessly with the environment. Each carried equipment that hummed with power and technology that glimmered in the sunlight. These were not ordinary soldiers. They were elite operatives, trained to track, retrieve, and neutralize threats to galactic law and security. Alex's heart pounded. He had read about them in reports but had never encountered them in person. Stories described them as fast, intelligent, and nearly unstoppable, and now they were approaching his lab, approaching him. "Sierra," Alex whispered, lowering his voice. "Stay close. Do exactly what I say." "Can you do that?" Sierra nodded, her face calm but alert. She had learned to trust Alex, and now her own courage was being tested. Together, they moved silently through the undergrowth, making their way toward a narrow ravine that Alex knew well. It would provide cover and a vantage point if they needed it. The soldiers were methodical, spreading out in a formation that covered all angles. Their eyes, human or enhanced, scanned the environment. Each step they took was careful but deliberate, leaving barely a trace on the forest floor. Alex realized that a direct confrontation would be dangerous. He needed a plan. Back at the lab, Alex quickly grabbed a few portable devices he had been working on. Small holographic projectors, sound disruptors, and energy nets were packed into his satchel. None were designed for combat, but they were enough to give him an edge if he used them wisely. He adjusted his visor interface, connecting it to his sensors to detect movement and sound with extreme precision. Sierra, despite her young age, followed instructions perfectly. She used the enhanced vision provided by her visor to spot shadows, detect the slightest movement, and warn Alex of approaching danger. For a moment, Alex marveled at how human ingenuity and alien resilience were working together. She had become more than a student. She was a partner in survival. As the soldiers drew closer, Alex activated the first device, a holographic decoy. A duplicate of himself appeared near the lab entrance, waving casually as if unaware of danger. The soldiers paused, analyzing the image with their equipment. One stepped forward cautiously, but the decoy shimmered and flickered, confusing their sensors. "They're checking it," Alex whispered. "We need more time." He led Sierra through the narrow ravine, using its twists and turns to hide from the soldiers' line of sight. Their footsteps echoed faintly, but the terrain muffled the sound enough to prevent easy tracking. Alex knew that time was critical. If the soldiers reached the lab, they could seize the visor and perhaps even harm Sierra. He couldn't allow that. The next step in his plan involved the sound disruptors. Alex placed a few devices along the main path the soldiers were taking. When activated, they emitted a low-frequency hum that interfered with sensors and hearing. The soldiers stumbled slightly, their movements momentarily slowed. "They're confused," Alex said quietly, relief mixing with urgency. "Keep moving." Sierra's small hands brushed against the rough walls of the ravine. She could feel the vibrations in the ground and listen to the echoes bouncing off the rocks. Her visor translated the subtle signals into patterns she could understand, guiding her along the safest path. Alex couldn't help but feel a sense of pride. The visor was more than just technology. It was a bridge between worlds, showing what humans could accomplish when they combined intelligence with compassion. The soldiers regained their footing quickly, adjusting their sensors. Alex knew they wouldn't be deterred for long. He needed a decisive move. Using the portable lab equipment, he created a makeshift EMP pulse, enough to temporarily disable electronic devices in a small radius. If timed correctly, it could neutralize the soldiers, geared just long enough to allow them to escape. As they reached a clearing, Alex activated the EMP. The hum of the soldiers, suits, and devices abruptly cut off. They froze, scanning frantically for the source of the interference. Alex and Sierra moved swiftly, ducking behind a large crystalline formation. The soldiers, enhanced vision and communication were temporarily useless, giving Alex the upper hand. "Almost there," he whispered, guiding Sierra toward a hidden path he had discovered during previous explorations. The path led deep into a canyon, filled with natural tunnels and overhangs that would provide cover and protection. The soldiers recovered, but Alex had already anticipated this. He activated the sound disruptors again, creating confusion and forcing them to split up. The terrain, combined with the devices, worked to their advantage. Alex could see the frustration in the soldiers' movements. Machines could calculate, predict, and adapt, but they couldn't anticipate human creativity paired with alien intuition. Sierra's visor picked up subtle energy traces left by the soldiers' equipment. She pointed them out to Alex, helping him avoid traps and monitor enemy positions. Together, they navigated the canyon, using a combination of technology, instinct, and strategy. Finally, they reached a hidden cave system, a place Alex had discovered months before while studying local geology. It was perfect for temporary refuge. They entered cautiously, sealing the entrance with portable energy barriers to delay pursuit. Alex set up a few holographic projections to confuse sensors, buying them precious time. Inside, Alex allowed himself a moment to breathe. Sierra sat quietly, absorbing the sights and shapes of the cave, now visible through her visor. For a brief moment they were safe, and the tension of the past hours began to lift. "We did it," Alex said softly. "For now, we're safe." Sierra turned to him, her face glowing with confidence and curiosity. "I saw them. I understood them, but they are not like us." Alex nodded. "No, they are not. But that doesn't mean we cannot protect what is right." He realized something important in that moment. Humans had the ability to adapt in ways that machines or even elite soldiers could not. Their creativity, empathy, and understanding of life gave them an edge that no technology could replace. The visor was a symbol of that ingenuity, a testament to human courage and compassion. Yet, Alex knew this was only the beginning. The soldiers would not give up easily. They had advanced training, powerful technology, and a mission that might not consider morality or life. He needed a plan, not just to survive, but to show that humans could lead with intelligence, ethics, and resilience. As night fell over the canyon, Alex and Sierra prepared for what would come next. They shared a simple meal, discussing strategies and potential routes for escape. But more importantly, they bonded over the fact that they were not alone. Together, they could face challenges that seemed impossible. Alex glanced at Sierra, her eyes, now capable of sight, reflecting the faint glow of the cave. "No matter what happens," he said, "we will find a way. Humans are good at solving problems, especially when it matters most." Sierra smiled softly, her first independent steps in the canyon a mixture of confidence and excitement. "I trust you, Alex. Together we can face anything." And with that, they settled for the night, listening to the sounds of the canyon. Outside, the soldiers regrouped, preparing for the next move. The game of pursuit had only just begun, but Alex felt a quiet certainty in his chest. Humans, with their courage and creativity, could overcome even the most advanced adversaries. The forest, the canyon, and the lab behind them were now part of a larger story, a story of hope, innovation, and the remarkable power of humans to protect life and improve it, even in the most unlikely places. And though the coming days promised danger, Alex was ready. He had prepared, adapted, and proved that ingenuity and courage could triumph against overwhelming odds. The adventure had only just begun, and the galaxy would soon witness the incredible potential of human determination, partnership, and compassion. The night in the canyon was dark, but the walls glimmered faintly from the mineral crystals embedded in the rock. Alex Carter and Sierra huddled near a small fire, its light casting soft shadows across the cave walls. The quiet was both comforting and tense. Every creak or whisper of wind seemed magnified in the stillness. Outside, the four elite soldiers were regrouping, preparing for their next attempt to capture Alex and the prototype Visor. Alex studied his maps and schematics, the glow of his portable screen reflecting in his thoughtful eyes. "We can't stay here forever," he whispered to Sierra. "They'll find us eventually, but I think I have a plan." Sierra tilted her head, listening closely. Her newly gained sight through the visor allowed her to perceive the subtle reflections of the cave crystals and detect even the faintest movements outside. "I can help," she said softly. "I see them coming. I can tell where they are." Alex smiled. The partnership they had formed was incredible, human ingenuity combined with Sierra's unique abilities. Together, they could accomplish things neither could do alone. He began explaining the plan. They would use the canyon's natural formations to create traps and misdirections, buying them time to escape deeper into the wilderness. Alex also planned to leverage his portable technology, holograms, sound disruptors, and a few improvised devices to give them an advantage. The first step was to create illusions. Alex positioned the holographic projectors at strategic points near the cave entrance. The projections were simple duplicates of themselves, waving or walking casually as if unaware of danger. He activated the devices and the figures shimmered to life. Outside, the soldiers approached, scanning carefully. The holograms created confusion. One soldier paused, his visor flickering as it tried to analyze the projections. The others signaled, but their communication was slightly delayed. Alex had expected this. Elite soldiers were fast, but even they could be thrown off by clever misdirection. "Now," Alex whispered to Sierra, "follow me, stay low, and move quickly." They slipped through a narrow passage hidden behind a crystal formation. The soldiers, distracted by the holograms, did not notice immediately. Alex and Sierra moved silently, their steps guided by instinct, intelligence, and the visor's feedback. As they navigated deeper into the canyon, Alex used his sound disruptors to create temporary echoes of footsteps and whispers. The soldiers paused frequently, trying to locate the source of the sounds. Every misstep and hesitation gave Alex and Sierra precious seconds. The canyon was a maze, but Alex knew it well. Each twist, turn, and tunnel became an ally in their escape. Yet the soldiers were relentless. Their training allowed them to adapt quickly, coordinating their movements and analyzing patterns. Alex realized that a direct confrontation might be inevitable. He needed a plan that relied not on brute force, but on strategy, creativity, and timing, human strengths that machines or elite soldiers could not fully predict. The next challenge came as they reached a wider chamber in the canyon. A shallow stream ran through it, reflecting the crystal light and creating distracting patterns. Alex paused, scanning the area. The soldiers were closing in, their footsteps echoing faintly. He quickly assembled a small energy net device, a makeshift trap designed to temporarily immobilize anyone who stepped into it. "Stay behind me," he instructed Sierra. "This will slow them down just enough for us to pass." He activated the net and carefully lured the first soldier toward it. The trap worked perfectly. A soft hum, a flash of light, and the soldier was temporarily caught, unable to move as the device emitted a disabling pulse. The others reacted immediately, but Alex had already anticipated their moves, guiding Sierra to a hidden tunnel leading deeper into the canyon. As they moved, Sierra spoke softly, her voice steady. "Alex, they are clever, but they don't understand the terrain like we do. We can use it to our advantage." Alex nodded, pride and admiration swelling in his chest. This young alien girl, once blind, was now a crucial partner in their survival. The visor had not only given her sight but had also amplified her natural abilities. Together they were more than just human and alien, they were a team. The deeper they went, the more challenging the canyon became. Jagged rocks, narrow paths, and sudden drops tested their agility and decision-making. Alex relied on his knowledge of geology and environmental science to choose the safest routes, while setting minor obstacles to confuse any pursuers. Sierra's enhanced perception allowed her to detect these obstacles and guide Alex safely. At one point, they reached a cliff edge overlooking a vast valley below. Alex paused, considering their options. The soldiers were likely following, but the cliff could serve as a strategic advantage. He noticed large boulders nearby and a narrow path along the edge. An idea formed. "We can use the boulders to block their path," he explained. "It won't stop them completely, but it will give us a chance to escape further into the wilderness." Sierra nodded, moving carefully to help position the boulders. Together, they rolled and balanced the rocks to create a temporary barrier. The soldiers arrived moments later, only to find the path partially blocked and their advance slowed. Alex and Sierra used this distraction to continue moving deeper into the valley. The soldiers were intelligent, but Alex realized that their strength lay in predictability. They followed patterns, relied on technology, and expected obstacles to be physical. Alex, however, was human, capable of improvisation, empathy, and abstract thinking. He used this advantage to stay one step ahead. As night fell, the forested valley provided cover. Alex and Sierra found a secluded area near a river where they could rest and plan their next move. The stars above reflected in the water, creating a serene scene that contrasted sharply with the danger they had just escaped. "Do you think they will give up?" Sierra asked, her voice calm but thoughtful. Alex shook his head. "No, they are trained to complete their mission. But we are humans. We adapt, we improvise, and we protect those who cannot protect themselves. That's our strength." Sierra looked at him, understanding more than words could express. Her journey from blindness to sight had been incredible, but now she realized that vision alone was not enough. Courage, intelligence, and determination were just as important. Over the next few hours, Alex set up additional defensive measures. Small sensors, improvised alarms, and minor traps were arranged around their resting area. He used the portable holographic projectors to create illusions of movement in multiple directions. Sierra assisted, her instincts guiding Alex to the most effective placements. By dawn, the valley was quiet. Alex felt a sense of accomplishment tempered with caution. They had evaded the elite soldiers so far, but he knew the challenge was far from over. The soldiers were adaptive, and their mission was relentless. "Tomorrow," Alex said quietly, "we find a way to stop them completely, not with force but with strategy and intelligence. That's what humans do. We solve problems, no matter how impossible they seem." Sierra smiled, a mixture of confidence and anticipation in her expression. and we will do it together." For the first time since the pursuit began, Alex allowed himself a small moment of hope. The visor had given Sierra sight, but it had also strengthened their bond, transforming a teacher-student relationship into a partnership built on trust and shared purpose. They were more than just fugitives, they were pioneers, showing what humans could accomplish when they combined ingenuity, courage, and morality. Outside the valley, the soldiers regrouped once again. Their patience and determination were impressive, but Alex had already proven that human creativity could outthink even the most disciplined adversaries. He knew that the coming confrontation would test them further, but he felt ready. The canyon, the valley, and the surrounding forest had become a battlefield of wits and strategy. Every step Alex and Sierra took was deliberate, every decision carefully considered. They were not relying on brute force. They were relying on the most powerful weapon humans possessed: intelligence, adaptability, and the ability to think beyond the obvious. As the sun rose over Urendor, casting light over the valley, Alex looked at Sierra and nodded. "It's time," he said. "We show them what humans can do, not through strength, but through skill, courage, and heart." Sierra nodded in agreement. She had seen the world with her own eyes, felt the power of human ingenuity, and understood the importance of resilience. Together, they were ready for whatever challenges the elite soldiers would bring next. The adventure was far from over, but Alex knew one thing for certain. Humans, with their creativity and determination, could turn even the most dangerous situations into triumphs. And as they moved forward, deeper into the wilderness, the galaxy would soon witness the remarkable power of human brilliance and compassion. The sun rose over the valley with a soft golden glow, spilling light across the rugged terrain of Urendor. Alex Carter and Sierra crouched behind a cluster of crystalline formations, their eyes scanning the horizon. The elite soldiers were still out there, searching relentlessly, but Alex felt a quiet confidence. Days of preparation, observation, and human ingenuity had brought them to this moment. "We have to be careful," Alex whispered, "but this is our chance. We can end this without anyone getting hurt, and we can protect the visor." Sierra nodded. Her visor-enhanced sight allowed her to see even the faintest movements in the distance. She noticed the soldiers' formation shifting, their tactics adapting to the canyon terrain. "They are coming this way," she said, "but I can guide us through paths they won't expect." Alex smiled. "Then let's show them what humans can do." They moved silently through the canyon, using hidden tunnels and narrow ledges. Alex had set up additional devices along the path: holographic projections that mimicked movement, sound disruptors to confuse sensors, and small energy pulses designed to temporarily immobilize anyone who got too close. Each device was carefully placed, a combination of strategy, science, and improvisation. As they reached a wider clearing, Alex paused to assess the situation. The soldiers had divided, attempting to flank the canyon from multiple directions. They were precise, coordinated, and fast, but predictable. Alex's mind worked quickly. He understood patterns, foresaw movements, and calculated the best points to deploy his technology. "Follow my lead," he said to Sierra. "We'll draw them here, then use the terrain and these devices to our advantage." Sierra's eyes shone with determination. She had come far from the blind girl who once relied solely on sound and touch. Now she could see the world and think tactically, making her a vital partner in their plan. The soldiers entered the clearing cautiously. The first signs of Alex's preparation were immediately visible. Holographic images shimmered across the rocks, creating multiple illusions of movement. The soldiers hesitated, their visors struggling to identify real threats. Alex activated the sound disruptors. Echoing footsteps, whispers, and the faint hum of energy pulses filled the air. The soldiers' sensors were overwhelmed, and their coordination faltered. Alex and Sierra moved along a hidden ledge, carefully avoiding detection. At a critical point, Alex triggered the energy net he had prepared. One soldier stepped forward, only to be immobilized momentarily as the net's pulse disrupted his suit's mobility. The others reacted quickly, but the canyon's narrow paths and Alex's carefully designed misdirections slowed their advance. "They won't expect the next move," Alex whispered to Sierra. "Follow me closely." They descended a hidden slope leading to a small river, its reflective surface shimmering in the sunlight. Alex placed several small devices in the water, creating visual distortions and minor electrical pulses. The soldiers, relying on enhanced vision and technology, were confused further by the irregular patterns in the water and the shifting reflections of the canyon walls. Sierra pointed out a narrow tunnel hidden behind a waterfall. "We can use this to escape further," she said. Alex nodded. "Exactly, but we'll do more than escape. We'll show them that humans solve problems differently. They expect force, but we'll use intelligence, ethics, and creativity." As they entered the tunnel, Alex activated a series of holographic projections that spread throughout the clearing. The soldiers paused, scanning carefully. Each projection mimicked Alex and Sierra, creating multiple false targets. At the same time, sound disruptors created echoes of footsteps moving in different directions. For the first time, the soldiers were disoriented, unsure where the real targets were. Inside the tunnel, Alex took a deep breath. "We're close," he said. "One more move, and we can end this without anyone getting hurt." The tunnel led to a hidden chamber that Alex had discovered months ago while studying the canyon. It was spacious, with walls that could amplify sound and reflections that distorted vision. Alex used this natural advantage. He positioned a few remaining devices to project light patterns and sounds, creating the illusion of multiple figures moving in the chamber. When the soldiers followed, they were immediately confronted with a chaotic scene. Holograms shimmered, light patterns shifted, and sound echoes bounced unpredictably. The elite soldiers tried to coordinate, but Alex had anticipated every possible response. He activated the final energy pulse devices, which temporarily disabled the soldiers' suits without causing harm. In the midst of the confusion, Alex and Sierra stepped forward into the open chamber. They were visible now, but the soldiers' mobility was impaired, and the illusions continued to mask their positions. Alex held up his hands in a peaceful gesture. "This doesn't have to end in violence," he said firmly. "We can solve this with understanding and cooperation." The visor is not a weapon. It is a tool for life, learning, and progress. Sierra can see now because of it, and she is thriving. The soldiers paused, assessing the situation. Their training had prepared them for combat, but not for reasoning, ethics, or the unexpected ingenuity of humans. Alex continued, calmly explaining the purpose of the visor, the partnership with Sierra, and the ethical intentions behind the invention. Sierra stepped forward, speaking clearly for the first time to the elite soldiers. "I can see because of him. He helped me experience the world in ways I never imagined. We mean no harm. We only want to learn and grow together." The soldiers' expressions shifted. They had been expecting defiance, aggression, and resistance. Instead, they were faced with reason, compassion, and ingenuity. Slowly, their stance relaxed. They realized that Alex and Sierra were not threats, they were pioneers, demonstrating the power of intelligence and morality. Alex smiled. "You see, humans can solve problems not with violence but with creativity and understanding. This is what we do. We find solutions that protect life and improve it, even when the odds are against us." One soldier lowered his visor slightly. Another deactivated a device, signaling an acknowledgement of Alex's point. The remaining soldiers hesitated, then slowly stepped back, allowing Alex and Sierra to remain unharmed. It was a silent agreement. Humans had proven their ingenuity and ethics were as powerful as technology and training. As the soldiers departed, Alex and Sierra emerged from the chamber, their hearts filled with relief and pride. The Visor had been protected, Sierra's life had been enriched, and the soldiers had witnessed firsthand the strength of human ingenuity. "We did it," Sierra said softly, her eyes sparkling. "We survived," Alex nodded, "and we showed them something important. Humans are not just survivors. We are thinkers, problem solvers, and protectors. That's our strength." In the days that followed, the story of Alex and Sierra spread throughout Urandor and even reached the Intergalactic Council. They highlighted the collaboration between human ingenuity and alien resilience, emphasizing ethics, creativity, and the power of compassion. Alex was invited to continue his work under Council supervision, developing technologies to assist life forms across the galaxy. Sierra thrived with the Visor. She explored the world around her with confidence, learning, growing, and inspiring others. Her story became a symbol of hope and collaboration, showing what humans could achieve when driven by empathy and intellect. Alex often reflected on the events that had unfolded. The pursuit by the elite soldiers had been a test, challenging his creativity, courage, and ethical judgment. He realized that humans were not just capable of surviving in the galaxy, they were capable of leading, innovating, and inspiring. And so, in the quiet of the Urandor wilderness, a human and a once-blind alien girl stood together, facing a future filled with possibilities. The Visor had given Sierra sight, but it had also given the galaxy a lesson. Humans, with their ingenuity, courage, and compassion, could overcome even the most advanced challenges, not through force, but through intelligence and heart. Alex looked at Sierra, her gaze now filled with the colors, shapes, and wonders of her world. "This is only the beginning," he said. "There's so much more to explore, to learn, and to create." Sierra smiled, taking a step forward and reaching out to touch the crystal formations around them. "Then let's do it together." The sun climbed higher, casting light over the valley and the canyon. Birds sang, the wind rustled through the leaves, and the forest seemed to hum with life. For Alex and Sierra, the world had opened up in ways they had never imagined. Their journey was far from over, but one thing was certain. Humans, with their creativity, ethics, and determination, had proven that they could make a difference anywhere in the galaxy. And in that moment, the galaxy witnessed the true power of humanity, not as conquerors, but as thinkers, helpers, and innovators. Human creates prototype Visor for blind alien girl. Days later, 4 elite soldiers come for him, HFY.